Orlando Pirates exemplifies a true pioneering spirit when it comes to leading from the front. Being one of the oldest teams in South Africa means they have had to get accustomed to adapting to change and constantly innovating to stay relevant. They were the first South African team to win the CAF Champions League Cup in 1995. And the club's momentous accomplishment made them the first South African sporting team to have an achievement honored by President Rolihlahla Nelson Mandela, the first state president of the new democratic country, to go where no South African team had gone before and reach heights no South African team had reached required an incredible amount of courage, an incredible amount of self-belief. To know that when you're playing in the CAF Champions League, you are not only carrying the weight of the fan base and community of Orlando Pirates, but you are carrying the weight of the nation, and not to let that weight deter your confidence. To travel many kilometers to play in distant lands, in stadiums filled with fans chanting support for your rivals, but still play your heart out and leave your heart on the field and play to win. We live in a dynamic world with rapidly changing environments, and our pursuit for growth will bring us front and center to new spaces. This reminds me of the famous quotes by the poet Ralph Waldo Emerson, who once said, "Do not go where the path may lead, but go where there is no path and leave a trail." Often we think that a momentous accomplishment like winning the CAF Champions League Cup happens in one big momentous action. However, Orlando Pirates got there by one training session at a time, one game at a time, one tackle at a time, one pass at a time, one save at a time, one goal at a time. Leaving a trail happens by taking one step at a time. To pack each day with as much of you as possible and wake up the next day and keep going. As Mary Ann Radmacher so eloquently puts it, courage does not always roar. Sometimes it is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, "I will try again tomorrow." Leading from the front means having the openness of mind and heart to embrace new fabrics and new textures, but having the tenacity to constantly stick to your knitting. Orlando Pirates were also the first team to win 3 major titles in a single season back to back. Getting to the top can be extremely tough, but staying at the top can prove to be even harder. Orlando Pirates could have easily become comfortable after the first 3 cup wins and dwelt on laurels of their past, but to lead and lead from the front requires an interesting mix of celebrating success with a discomfort that stems from an itch for more. It's an understanding that success is not a one-off event, but a constant setting of new goals after you've hit certain targets. Like what basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski once said, "If what you did yesterday still looks big to you, you haven't done much today." Leading from the front means that your past wins no longer excite you as you strive for even bigger wins. It is adopting the philosophy the Japanese call Kaizen, which has an inherent meaning of continuous improvement. I like how the late President Rolihlahla Nelson Mandela eloquently put it in the closing words of his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, when he said, "I have walked that long walk to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way. But I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I have taken a moment to rest here, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance that I have come. But I can rest only for a moment, for with freedom comes responsibility. And I dare not linger, for my long walk is not yet ended." Most people aspire to lead, but their biggest challenge is that they lead using accomplishments of yesteryear as a reference point. Orlando Pirates shows us how a great legacy is perpetuated by continuing to trailblaze ahead today and forge courageously to climb greater hills.